Where is Daredevil?
A minor. Don't miss the return of Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again.
So what's next?
I feel liberated.
We're gonna take this city back.
Over medicated.
In an all-new season, now streaming only on Disney+.
They're hunting us. It's time we started hunting them.
I can work with that.
This should be tons of fun.
Marvel Television's Daredevil Born Again, now streaming only on Disney+.
Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come step into centuries of history that await in Scotland. Castles steeped in legend, walk along cobblestone streets. Come share the warmth of stories passed down through generations. This is a place with a past that is fully present today and all yours to explore. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nerding Out on Neurodiversity, the podcast for all things neurodivergence. I'm Dr. Matt Zakreski, clinical psychologist and professional speaker, and I'm happy to be your host through the wild trails of the neurodivergent world.
And I'm Jake Noonan, educational coach and humanities teacher, your co-host and producer, and I'm thrilled to help share the stories and the experiences of wonderful people in the world of neurodiversity.
We're really excited for today's guest, which we are going to say a lot because we're always really excited about every guest we get. So let's get into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerding Out on Neurodiversity. I'm your host, Dr. Matt Zakreski, clinical psychologist, professional speaker, published author, wearer of many hats, not the least of which is co-hosting this illustrious podcast with the Arnold to my Miss Frizzle, Mr. Jake Noonan. Say hi, Jake.
Hi, everybody. Great as always to be here. Dr. Matt, Arnold and Miss Frizzle was two of my favorite pairs growing up.
Absolutely.
And I always loved the episode where they go inside Arnold's body.
Yep.
For some reason, that was the one that stood out to me every single time.
Did you see? So they did like a multiverse style Miss Frizzle in the reboot where they have Lily Tomlin come back and it's Kate McKinnon who's doing the voice now. And it's just like, and you know what? It's great. Shut up, haters. More Miss Frizzle is a good thing to you, I say.
I did not know that. I have to watch the new series now.
It's like a little bit like Spider-Man, like No Way Home, like where it's like, oh man, like we have to return you to your timelines or the universe will collapse. I'm like, pretty high stakes.
Or could just keep them all together.
Too much Frizzle, man. I think the multiverse would collapse inward like a neutron star. Jake, I feel like on your childhood magic school bus, today's guest may have been on that bus with you. Is that an accurate thing to say?
If we were in school at the same time and same location, 100% yes.
Excellent. So maybe they're the DA to your Arnold to my Miss Frizzle. So shouts Dorothy Ann, your OG gifted kid. Because what gifted kid hasn't had that experience where everyone in class looks at you to know the answer? You're like, I do know the answer. It's just a little bit, shut up. So Jake, would you like to introduce today's guest?
I would love to introduce today's guest. Today's guest is genuinely speaking, one of the best people I've ever met in my entire life. And I can already hear them getting a little in the best way. But they are honestly, at this point, family for Jack and I, and look to them as a mentor, a friend, a parent for myself sometimes. Just an all-around incredible person. And Carcyn, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do.
Sure. Hi, I'm Carcyn. My pronouns are he, him. What do? I do a lot of things. I went to school for special and elementary education. I did that until I had my daughter, and then I started sewing, and so I have a couple businesses. I feel like my life is just side hustles. I don't have one primary job. I just do many things, and I don't know if I do any of them especially well. But I'm very passionate about all of them. So I do woodworking, I do sewing, and parenting and music and general partnership, and that's kind of me. And a kickboxing. Kickboxing is my hyper focus right now. So yeah.
You're like Ron Swanson plus Leslie Knope at this point, right? I mean, like,
I will take that. Yes, thank you. Ron Swanson is like goals. Actually, Nick Offerman in general is goals. I think he's just an overall awesome human too. So yeah.
yes. I think, Jake, we are officially adding Nick Offerman to the list of dream podcast guests.
Yeah.
He was just in Philly doing a show, and he did a video from the art museum, and he's like, "Where should I go?" And I messaged, I was like, "You got to go to Kite and Key. It's in that part of town. It's really good." So later on, I got a message from the bar manager at Kite and Key, who I know, Keith. Hi. I don't think you listen to this podcast, but hi anyway. Keith was like, "Why is Nick Offerman here?" And I was like, "Because I told him to go to your restaurant, Keith." So yes, shouts Ron Swanson. I mean, Nick's just the coolest guy ever.
Wait, do you like know Nick personally?
No, I'm extrovert plus ADHD. It's like, I'll talk to that person.
Okay, because your coolness just like jumped up even higher than it already is for me. So okay, now you're still back to normal coolness. Okay,
normal level.
I did dance with Anne Hathaway once.
Wow.
Like, this was like Princess Diaries had just come out, Anne Hathaway, not like super A-list Anne Hathaway now, but like we were at a prom together, and like her date and my date both won prom king and queen, and we were standing there. I was like, "I'll dance with you while our dates are dancing over there."
Wow.
And I'm like, this is a cool thing.
Wow.
But we're not here to talk about me and my weird celebrity interactions. Okay, so let me speak of that. Woodworking, sewing, parenting, kickboxing, and was there like a vocal?
Yeah, music, yeah.
I was like, let's spin the topic wheel. I mean,
yeah.
So sewing is interesting to me. So let's start there. How does one, especially someone trained in education, be like, I'm going to start several businesses about sewing? Because that feels atypical to me.
Actually, it did kind of start related. So when I had my daughter, I was the stay-at-home parent. We knew that I was going to take time off from teaching. I didn't know how long it would be, but I wanted to make a little bit extra money. I was having fun, just kind of sewing for fun. I was making my daughter dresses. She loves twirling, and so I just found like some easy patterns to make her dresses. And then a guy reached out to me looking for sewing lessons for his daughter, and I was like, I think I could do that. I know how to teach people. I know how to sew, so let's try doing both of those things together. And it worked out. And then actually, he's what led me to the woodworking business also. Yeah, his family owned a like furniture store for a while, and then he took over doing the repairs for them, and then he trained me. And so for about the last 10 years, I've been doing repair work for him. He retired. I took over the business, and now I don't do lessons anymore for sewing, but now I focus on the wood refinishing and wood repair.
Interesting. Like, and how do you go about getting the wood? Boy, I should have phrased that.
It's not as fun as that innuendo might seem.
One would hope.
Yes.
Because like my grandfather was a master carpenter, and after he retired, he had like a part-time gig in his basement. Like, people would drop off pieces of furniture and he would fix them.
Mm-hmm.
So when I lived with them for a while, like my job was to help them get the heavy things down the stairs, which gotta tell you sucked. But like, this 600-pound armoire will go down this flight of stairs, sure, but he would do magic with it. So like, do you like troll like junkyards or scrap heaps? Do you hang out at the Habitat for Humanity Restore? What's your secret?
I let people come to me. Like, if I'm doing projects for myself, Facebook Marketplace is a great place to find like furniture that's not in super great quality, but maybe just needs to be touched up or that kind of thing. But most of the time I let people come to me and I refinish and do work for other people. Most of my business is fixing chairs. And then I've started, the more I've advertised that I'm doing refinishing, the more refinishing jobs I'm getting. So people will bring me, or I'll go pick up their living room table, their coffee tables, their bed frames. I just did a bed frame for somebody, and I do the work. I have a workshop, which is fantastic. And I've got all my cool tools and my fancy machines, and I spend most of my time sanding. So, yeah, sanding and stripping wood. So it's not as glamorous as one might seem or, hope, but I love it. I love working with my hands. One of the reasons why I love sewing and I love painting and I love doing any kind of creative endeavor, if I'm using my hands and I can just focus on one task at a time, it like gives my brain this in the clouds cushioned feeling, right? Because my brain is scattered. I often describe the way my brain works as a book with a lot of footnotes or asterisks. And I'll be talking to somebody, and I'll just be like, asterisk, okay? And it's where I'm telling them and myself, I need to come back to a side thought, a side quest that just happened in my thought train. And yes, I mix a lot of metaphors too, but that's fine. But I think the way I live my life also kind of shows how my brain works, where I don't have just one job that I go to every day. I have all of these things. It's like, well, that's how my brain works. Some days it's really easy for me to get into a sewing project and I can work 10 hours and feel very productive. And other days it's like, I don't have the motivation or the bandwidth to sew. The idea of cutting fabric bums me out. So I'll go into the workshop and I'll work on something. But like, that's kind of how my brain works.
I mean, I love that. And like so much of why we started this podcast is to normalize the fact that there are a lot of people out there live life this way, right? Like I was just at my high school last week for talking to them about career day. And like, so what do you do? I was like, I do like 7 things because I have ADHD and like having 7 things to do makes my brain happy. Also, I'm not sitting there like I have to cook this steak and I don't want to cook the steak, but it's my job to cook the steak. I can pivot into, writing a book or doing a podcast or seeing a client or because it gives my brain a lot of like sort of soft landing places. Because how many of us have had a day where we stay at the thing we are, giant air quotes, supposed to be doing with just rage and despair and frustration because we just can't. Because sometimes, I don't know if it's Mercury in retrograde or we've stepped under some sort of cosmic ladder, but we just can't sometimes. So having other places to land feels like not only a way that's affirming to the person you are and the brain you have, but it's also a way to sort of survive in this late stage capitalism hellscape. So like bully for you, both sides, right?
I'm also privileged to be married to somebody who has one of those 9 to 5 jobs, who if I have a really slow period of I don't get a lot of woodworking jobs, I can we're not depending on my salary to make ends meet. I recognize the privilege that's there, that if I had to go back to a 9 to 5, if I had to go back to teaching, I would. Although for the listeners, I'm heavily tattooed, and that is new since leaving teaching. I don't know how well I would fit back into a classroom. I also have some fears I actually have a nightmare. I'm going to call it a nightmare the other night about I went back into a classroom and I had to explain to the students that I go by Mr. now, because I've transitioned also since teaching. And the idea of I have a hard time correcting people when they misgender me. The idea of correcting a classroom full of students, that was enough to wake me up in the middle of the night. I don't know how we got on that, but again, that's my brain. So,
well, I'd hire you in a second
oh.
for any schools I work with. So you brought up the fact that you've transitioned, and I think that, have you ever heard the line you're gorgeous and that's the least interesting thing about you?
Yes. I mean, no one's ever said that to me, but
well, let me be the first then, Carson. I'm giving queer eye energy right now. It's
yeah.
And you're gorgeous. I love you. Your skincare, we love it. But the reason I bring that up is that I've adopted a version of this for my trans clients where it's you're trans and that's awesome. And it's the least interesting thing about you.
Yeah.
However, I think a lot of our listeners who are of the LGBTQ community would benefit from hearing that story if you're okay with sharing it with us.
Sure, sure. So I'm a late bloomer. I really started getting my life together. All right, so long story. I hated myself as a kid. I didn't know why. I just thought I was depressed and anxious, and I never really fit in. So I had a lot of issues with depression and anxiety. And then as I got older, self harm. And then I started using a lot of alcohol to try to just like feel numb, to not feel so terrible about myself, to feel like I could fit in. When I was like 28 or 29, I decided to start going to 12-step recovery meetings, and I got clean and sober. So I feel like I hit 30 and I started to like peel back the layers of why I didn't feel like I fit in, you know? 10 years go by. 40 is when I feel like I met one of my partners, Emily. Shout out to Emily, who's also a dear friend of Jake.
Shout out Emily. Love her.
Emily.
And I also had some a very close family member who transitioned. And so the language started to evolve, and it, gosh, language is so important. Asterisk. And I feel like once I had the language, then other parts of my life started to like fall into like pieces started to fall into place, and things started to make sense in a way I had never considered them before. And so I came out to like three people as non-binary. Said I think woman, female just does not feel right anymore. And it feels really good to, at that time, I was saying just pretend. Like, I just feel like I just want to pretend to not do that and just see how it feels. And so I played around with just they, them pronouns. I shortened my birth name to a nickname, and it felt right for a while. And then the more non-binary I started dressing, the more kind of masculine leaning I became and looked in the mirror, the more at home I felt, and like a peace that I had never felt before with with as much drugs and alcohol as I could fit in my system. Like nothing felt as right as identifying as a man did, and still does. So I've been fully out, I guess, for about 2 years. And I went through the legal name process, changed my passport, my driver's license. My birth certificate is from North Carolina, and that's a little bit harder to do, especially in this political climate. But for most people and government institutions, I am now legally male. And it took me a while to get here, but I cannot imagine a life different from this. Like I don't want to. I don't want to. And thankfully I have a lot of support. I've lost a lot of family, but I have a lot of support in my chosen family who love me and validate me and affirm me. And so I'm grateful for that.
I mean, every time I get to hear a story like that, I'm struck by your humanity, but also your courage to stand in the eye of the hurricane and say, like, listen, I got to be me, and the me I am is not the me you think I am.
Mm.
And like, sorry, can't turn off the therapist brain. Like you said, like, I lost some friends and family, and like I could hear the hurt in your voice. Like it's clearly pretty well scabbed over by this point, but like it's still there.
Yeah.
I hope how many people you help by living that authentic life, by regardless of what age you are, that it's like it's never too late to start being you.
Absolutely. Yes. There's still time no matter what. Yeah. No matter when you decide or when you figure it out, there's still time to live authentically. I mean, life has gotten so much better. Like there are still horrors in the world, but life has gotten so much better now that I've figured out and continue to learn and grow about who I am. But figuring out like some of these really big pieces about my life and my identity and the way I want to live has been amazing, and it's a gift.
In the background over your shoulder, I can see a Manchester Orchestra poster. So like,
Yes.
you do have friends in all the right places, right?
Oh my God, Dr. Matt. Oh,
I've been workshopping that since you jumped on this. I'm like,
oh.
I'm gonna find a way to work this in, right?
God, I'm falling in love with you, Dr. Matt. Wow.
Oh, let's go. That's right, Jake. I'm coming for your friends.
It's fine. I can share. It's fine.
Nope, only me. So, I mean, we know the overlap between the LGBTQ community and the neurodivergent community. I mean, it's somewhere between 38 and 70%. So I always say 1 out of 2.
Yeah.
That math is mathier for me. So, like, we know that one of the things that those communities have in common is the importance of found family, the importance of people who are like, yeah, you don't zig when everybody else zigs, you zag. So, like, what's been the process of finding that family for you and like creating a community that not only affirms you but supports you?
It's a great question. I think trusting in other people to help me. I'm not very good at asking for help. I have a lot of social anxiety, but I'm really good at faking it. My partner Emily is a social butterfly as much as she also gets burnout from it. And she's openly trans. And she has kind of built this beautiful community of trans women who I have found a lot of community in. The more I transitioned away from non-binary and into trans masc, the more I have felt compelled to find my own trans masculine community. So a couple people I met from Emily and her kind of group, lovingly call them the Trans Girl Circus because there's so many of them. They have so many beautiful talents and personalities. I hope they don't mind being called that, but they're beautiful women who embody all of the wonderful aspects of any community. And there are just a few of us trans men in that. But I actually found a year ago this, it's called the Intentional Man Project, and they're kind of on a hiatus right now, but it's a great nonprofit organization who work on providing trans men with support, and they run a yearly camp called Camp Lost Boys. And I went last summer and I think it was over 100 trans men, and walking into that community, walking into that camp, and it was literally a camp. It was like a Boys Scout camp that they rented for the weekend. And it was so cool. They had like archery and canoeing and beach time and volleyball and like crafts. It was great. Campfires, all that. But walking into a space where I looked around and I was just a guy among a sea of guys who had so very similar stories to me. Like, it was humbling and euphoric at the same time. It was it was an amazing experience, and I've kept in touch with a number of them. So I feel like I was only able to find them though because I was willing to kind of take that leap of faith. And just like today, I was shaking on my drive up there. Like, I was so nervous, and I kept thinking I have this imposter syndrome where I feel like I'm not trans enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not an expert in anything. Why am I here? Like, what actually, it kept me out of 12-step meetings for a while too. It's like, I'm not addict enough. I'm not a good enough parent. Like, I'm not a good enough woodworker. I'm not a good enough sewist. Like, what, everything in my life, all of my side hustles, all of my relationships, there's a theme where I really have to kind of convince myself I am good enough. I am enough just the way I am. And that's worthy of being loved. And I have something to give other people. And so I think kind of figuring that out allowed me to find community in these different places. But I had to be willing to take that risk of getting hurt, you know.
I think it's definitely paid off a lot for you, knowing you as well.
Yeah.
It's like literally every single time I see you, whether it's just like we're out somewhere just catching up, or like going to a show, or there's a big gathering of people, like everyone there always loves you and talks about how great you are, even like when you're not in this physical room with us.
Oh, I appreciate that.
I don't think I've ever heard anything remotely even like neutral to negative from anybody else about you. It's always only been positive and about like how incredible of a person you are and how much like you make every single other person around you feel seen and heard. And like that's not something easy to do.
Oh, thank you. I could probably give you some names, but you know.
If you got any names, I'll yell at them for you.
Oh, thanks, Jake. Thank you.
Man, it's going to be a hit list from this podcast. It's like you're just going to be jumping in people's hands like, hi, is your name Brian Thomas? Were you mean to Carson? Look at me. Listen, if you're mean to Carson, the Trans Femme Circus is coming for you.
Oh, I really hope they don't mind me saying that.
Put the calliope in like a minor key, Jake, and make it like sound really like threatening, like
Yeah.
like
Totally.
Gosh, I would watch the shit out of that show, by the way. You know, Jake, I mean, one of the through lines from this podcast, right, is that like we talk to people who are just like who people speak well of in rooms they are not in. And that is like, you know, just it's such an important thing to like to snapshot and make us aware of it, because like it's hard not to have blinders on what's in front of you, right? We forget about the impact we leave behind us and people whose lives we positively touch when we're not there anymore. But those impacts echo. You know, and Jake, I mean, you've been along for the ride for many years, so you've clearly seen this evolve and change, even as Carson has evolved and changed, right?
Mm-hmm. And your whole family just becoming incredible as well.
Yeah.
Just saying, phenomenal parenting across the board.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's tricky. She's 12 now. She's going to be 13 in a few months. And it's starting. She's in this great age, right? I'm saying she's in this great age as I struggle with the frustration of having a almost teenager. But at the same time, she's still my baby, you know, like she still wants to come lay on me and snuggle and watch Project Runway or Bob's Burgers. Those are our two, like, let's snuggle and watch a show. You know, like she still very much wants me in her life. And I know that we're approaching the age where that's going to be a struggle for a while. So it's this balance in my mind of, oh my gosh, all right, calm down. It's really not that big of a deal. And, oh, let me hold you while it is a big deal, you know? And it's, somebody told me when I first had a kid, the days are long, but the years fly by. And it's the truest truth ever. Some days it feels like this is terrible. Things could not get worse. And then the next thing I know, you know, she's a year older and also in kickboxing, doing karate, getting great grades, but putting so much pressure on herself to be perfect that she's stressing herself out and getting anxious. And being a parent is one of the most helpless feelings, I think, sometimes. I've created this mini version of me who has a lot of the same struggles that I did as a kid. And I struggle with feeling like there's nothing I can do to help her. But I have to remind myself that I am doing a lot to help her. I'm using language that I didn't learn for myself until I was almost 40. You know, the idea of, hey, you might just be overstimulated right now. Like, why don't we take a break? I know you want to keep going at 100, but I think it might be better for all of us if we just take a break from this. She has a wonderful therapist who she works with weekly, and they just, they kind of catch up and chit chat, and it doesn't, at least from what I can hear and what I've been involved in, it's not nearly as like deep diving as mine is, but I've got 40 years of baggage and she thankfully does not, so I think also kind of breaking this generational cycle of trauma or lack of communication. Like, my partner and I are open with her about how feelings aren't facts, and like, you might feel really strongly about this right now, but it will get better if we talk about it and if we address it. Things that I didn't learn until I was much older. And I don't know, I love being a parent, but it's also, it's very humbling. I always thought I would be a great parent, and then I had a kid and I realized that it's really hard to be a great parent.
All right, so I can't just let that go. I just can't let you just say that. Let's just think for a second, like, what are great parents?
All right, Dr. Matt.
Carcyn.
But like, for real, because like, we as a society tend to think greatness is lack of struggle. I think greatness is perceiving and maintaining through the struggle. Do you know how many parents would give up or sell out their 12-year-old who's an emotional hodgepodge? The number's not zero.
Yeah.
And if you can have Bob's Burgers and Project Runway with your kiddo, that's not nothing. In fact, it's quite a bit, because the kids who need the most love ask for it in the worst ways, most of which is pushing people away. So like, parenting is the hardest thing any of us will ever do. It's the sort of job that you, like, 20 years from now, like, hopefully my kids will say, like, you're a pretty good dad. And I'll be like, excuse me, I have something in my eye, right? But like, the research on this shows consistently that great parents don't do much extra for helping their kids succeed. What almost every kid needs is a good enough parent. You're good enough. And like, that means you give a shit. That means you apologize when you screw up. That means you keep trying even when they make it hard. I'll tell you this, if you can keep doing those things, Carcyn, like, you've already cleared the bar. And we can always try to get better, right? It isn't like, cool, coast till they graduate high school, but like,
yeah,
it means that like, you already have so much of what you need. To think that you're less than because there's a part of it that isn't going well hurts you and ends up hurting your kid too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, well said. Thank you.
It's like I do this for a living or something. Weird. Now, I do want to ask about the tattoos, because they are badass and amazing, and nobody else can see them but me and Jake. So
yeah, I'm covered. Yeah.
Jake, can that be our screen grab? Can that be like, Carcyn, do that again. Do that again. Screen grab, Jake. Do a screen grab. So I increasingly feel like I'm the only person I know without tattoos. I am, what the technical term I think is a freaking wimp. I think that's the term. Google. But like, did you have tattoos before you transitioned? Did they explode post-transition? What's the story? Because like, I mean, you're like a freaking Tolkien novel on your forearms.
Yes. Yes, actually, but that is not a tattoo I have so far. Get something Tolkien. So maybe that'll be next on the list. I don't know if I should get the ring, but I'll get something. I don't know if I want to carry that around with me forever.
Be a big burden.
I know, right? Yeah, so I had a couple tattoos before I transitioned. I look really badass from far away. The closer you get, the nerdier you see my tattoos are. Okay, so like, my coolness goes down as you look deeper. Okay, well, depending on who you are.
Oh, there's like false.
Yes. There are certain tattoos that I got that were 100% for the trans affirming experience. My hand tattoos, my knuckle tattoos, those were 100% like, they just feel manly, and I want to feel manly. And the neck tattoos, same thing. I have one on the back of my head that kind of goes into my hairline. it's just like the more masculine I felt and feel, the more I want to present. And that, like, this is my tattoos are an outward showing of my brain and my heart, and everything I'm passionate about is generally represented on my body somewhere for somebody else to see. I got a lot of tattoos for music I love, got a lot of tattoos for nerdy pop culture references. I have a lot of like D&D themed tattoos, and a decent number of literature based fantasy, sci-fi, nerdy fandom stuff too. So and I actually have a giant Tina from Bob's Burgers tattoo on my leg. She's holding a ukulele because that's my musical instrument of choice right now. So I try to live as authentically as possible, and the tattoos are just a extension of who I am on the inside. And it feels great to be seen on the outside as I am on the inside.
Getting them's fun too, I'm just saying.
Yeah, getting, you know what? Right after they're done is a great time. Planning them, 100%. While it's happening, and then right after it's done, I'm ready for another one. So
Yeah.
So Matt, if you could just skip that middle part there, you might really love tattoos.
Yeah, you could have said that about puberty too, and I still had to go through. The idea of trusting somebody enough to take several sharp needles and be like, I'm just going to expose your throat and go tap, 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 tap for nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Though shouts Bob's Burgers, I mean, it's like they made a show. What if everybody in this town was neurodivergent?
Yes.
God, H. John Benjamin. Put him on the list, Jake.
Oh yeah.
God, I just would like, H. John Benjamin, I've emailed you a series of words. Could you please just say them? Amplamoose. Dirigible. I mean, I would die. I think Wet Hot American Summer is arguably one of the greatest movies ever made. And his vocal work as the talking can of beans is just chef's kiss. It's really, yeah, his old show, H. John Benjamin Has a Van, it was like, is probably like the most like archetypal. It's like sociologists will study that 100 years from now and be like, is this what neurodivergent is? Because it's like, I'm up all night. I'm going to talk to weird people in the dark. And I'm like, yes, say more words.
This was my whole college experience. I want to bring it back.
Yeah, right? Yep.
I have to look that up.
So I think it's really fascinating, right? Getting tattoos on your, like, you said fingers and knuckles that were like very masculine, right?
Yeah.
One of the things that Jake and I talk about, it feels like every third episode, is how like, he's like, what masculinity means in 2026. We like, neither of us are traditionally masculine men, right? Like, we're very affectionate. We love each other. You know, I mean, the only person I know who gives better hugs than me is Jake.
I win.
Yeah. Yes. Congratulations, Dick. But we can still go into the sophomore gutter talk. Like, yeah, you know, and when you were talking about, you know, the camp and that experience, like, I think a lot of sort of old school men are like, you're trying to redefine masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're trying to expand it.
Yes.
You know, like everybody in high school thought I was gay because I did theater and because I'm very affectionate and I have a big personality. And I was like, if I had to choose between being me and being one of those, like, my dad cried twice in my life, once when he watched, you know, Bridge on the River Kwai, and once when his father died, and it was one time a singular tear. Those aren't the men I want to be around.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those aren't the relationships I cultivate. Like, I need that emotionally fertile ground. And has your experience of affection and emotionality, has it changed throughout this transition process?
Yes. Though not probably in a way that my family loves. I went from, I think, being a pretty emotional and I mean, I struggled with kind of emotional regulation for a long time. Like, I needed to be properly medicated. I needed to get clean. I needed to like go through a lot of therapy to kind of feel like even. But I think I was pretty typical feminine traits of cried at movies, very affectionate with my daughter, affectionate with my friends. One of the gifts of testosterone is I definitely feel less touchy feely. I also spend a lot of time around my gym bros. And so I've kind of I think the way I experience masculinity from cis men, I think is kind of shape some of the way I act as a man now, which I think is one of the reasons why it's so important for me to have trans men in my life, because they are the ones redefining masculinity for me. Right. And when I see other trans men cry, be emotional, be touchy feely, still be the kind of parent that I want to be, like I still want some of those traditionally feminine traits. I would like to not see them as feminine traits in my mind so that I could kind of get back on board with them. I think that's been, I think, one of the hardest parts of transitioning as a parent is my daughter has seen me go from, a loving, caring, gentle, snuggly mom to, she calls me coach now, to a kind of rough and tumble puppy version of a father figure. And I've lost some of that kind of softness, I think, in my personality and in how I emote, which has been, I think, just a tricky part of the transition for her. So it's something that we actively work on together and something we've talked about in therapy, but it's hard. I feel like my brain has changed, and I know chemically it has, but I feel like it now takes intention for me to be warm and snuggly, and my instinct is not necessarily to, oh, how are you feeling about that, and like, well, what can I do to make it easier for you, and do you want to snuggle up and watch this, or do you want to like, do you want to talk about all of this? Like, sometimes now my instinct is, well, let me just fix the problem. And that is a very, as somebody with a cis male partner, that is a very cis male approach, at least in his experience and what I've experienced with him as a partner. It's a very traditionally masculine approach to this analytical thinking, maybe a lack of emotional intelligence, but just I have a lot of experience with my cis male partner, who's, if I complain about a problem, it's, well, how do we fix it? We don't need to talk about the feelings. We just need to fix it, and then the feelings will go away.
Yeah.
That's not my experience now. It definitely wasn't my experience when I was identified as female, and it's not my daughter's experience. And so finding myself kind of leaning into that now is very strange.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that was just a phenomenal conversation. I mean, we covered a lot. We didn't even really get to like any of the addiction stuff, or, so maybe we'll just have to have you back and just
Sure.
vibe more.
Yeah.
Talk about what other 7 tattoos you've gotten since then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's move into our wrap-up questions. Jake, you want to kick us off?
Definitely. And I've got 2 questions for you, actually.
Okay.
So the first one is a little bit less playful.
Okay.
And it's, what would you say now to like little Carcyn?
Oh.
When you're in all of that like chaos, all of that like turmoil, like what would current you tell little you?
Bro.
I'm not sorry ahead of time, just so you know.
Right. No, I've not done any inner child work. No, let's not. No, let's not start now. I would say you are enough. You don't have to try to be somebody that you're not for somebody else. And it's a lesson I'm still learning now, but you are enough just the way you are, and it does get better. It really, really does get better. Yeah.
I'm just going to reflect to you. You are definitely enough.
Oh, thank you.
Especially for me, at least.
Oh, thank you.
There's a term in the field when you were talking about this earlier called contingent worthiness, where like I only have value if I've achieved certain things, if I'm sick enough, if I'm trans enough, if I'm addicted enough. And one of the things I fundamentally work on with a lot of our clients here is like, you have enough value when you woke up this morning. Like if all you did today was open your eyes and scroll Instagram in bed, you still have value. You don't have to earn that. All that is the icing and the toppings on the cupcake, right? But cupcakes are still delicious without those things. So you are a delicious cupcake. Hey, Jake, title in which you describe Carcyn as a delicious cupcake.
Perfect.
Yes, it's the opposite of burying the lead. Go ask your 17 other questions, Noonan. Jeez.
I'll ask my one other question. Carcyn, what is your favorite word and why?
Okay. All right. So I've listened to your podcast, and this one I thought about. All right. So my first instinct is a well-placed F-bomb. 100%. I'm happy to drop that anytime. But I think my favorite word that I've been using a lot lately is hubris. My stubbornness is it's really strong, and I trip myself up a lot trying to be in control and think that I know best, despite some pretty crippling anxiety and imposter syndrome. I kind of screw myself over a lot. So I like the word hubris. It kind of, I remind myself to stay humble by trying not to stab myself with my own sword.
Fun thing with hubris is that's a word I never understood what it meant until I was in college.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time. No clue what it meant. I just heard people using it all the time.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when people say pathos, I'm like 90% sure what pathos means, but I'm like, how about that pathos? And I just sort of look around like, no one's yelling at me, so I probably got it right. I had to explain to my children what hubris meant because they dropped it on an episode of Wildcrats on PBS Kids. You know, one of the characters was like, my hubris! And my daughter was like, what's hubris? I'm like, on Wildcrats. It's 7:15 a.m. on a Saturday. I do not need this in my life.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, can you use it as a sentence? Daddy has much hubris.
Yeah.
I love they're using that in the kids' show, though.
Yeah.
Why do you start a podcast, right? Hubris.
PBS Kids has a lot of great shows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Shouts to PBS forever. I mean, I will fund them until they make it illegal, and then I'll probably still do it. All right, Carcyn, you know the next question that's coming. Superhero on speed dial. Let's go.
I think so. I don't know the name of him, but somebody who could give me more time. So there's the character in Loki who can like wind back time, or I guess maybe Doctor Strange. I don't know. Somebody who could help me better time management. That would be really, really phenomenal. With all my side quests and asterisks and footnotes, I get really easily distracted and don't stay on task very well. So yeah, a superhero who could help me with time management, that would be phenomenal.
Like help you with time management or like control time a little bit in some form?
I think both. I mean, I guess maybe long term because they can't like live with me. Maybe if they could like help me situationally, but then also teach me how to do it, I'd be great with that.
It's like a superhero executive functioning coach, kind of.
Yes. Although maybe that's what Dr. Matt is for.
I'm gonna say, like, some people call that an assistant. Well, and also I appreciate you not bringing up She Who Shall Not Be Named and the Time Turner.
Yep.
We don't put any spin on that name. Nope.
Yep.
Also, the Flash could help you with that.
Kitty Pryde, one of my favorites.
There's a relatively obscure X-Men called Blink who can create pocket universes when everybody else is moving to navigate outside of time and then come back to the place.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while I do not believe Blink's character is LGBTQ themselves, I know that they were one of the first person that Firestarter came out to in the recent run of Scott Vaughn's X-Men. So we can, at least they're an ally, right? So we,
Yeah.
That's right. Deep comic book knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we've covered a lot of ground. We've had some laughs. I don't know if we successfully made Carcyn cry, but I feel like we got close.
It's hard to make me cry now with the testosterone. Another gift of that.
Next time.
Yeah. Sorry, I punched my fist through the drywall. So.
That's right. Actually, that was one of the most affirming things I got to do is I did punch my fist through drywall and taking a carpentry class. But, I did get to do it, and that was pretty great.
Did you like say like my name's Kyle for a minute? Because that's always been the two things tied together.
In my brain, maybe. I'll never tell.
I feel like you just touched on some deep lore, and I'm you know what? We'll just let it be a hook for the next episode, part 2. Punching poor walls with Carcyn.
From cupcakes to now walls.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll show you a softie. Anyway, so Carcyn, thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with us. I mean, it's affirming to so many of our listeners in so many ways. And like, as a person who may have felt in your life that you've not been enough, I can tell you you're more than enough. And we all benefited from that today. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really great conversation. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, that will wrap up this episode of Nerding Out on Neurodiversity for all of us here. Thank you for learning with us and learning from us. And as always, for trusting us with your time. It means the world to us. Jake, you want to send us out?
Absolutely. Obviously, always great to be here. And Carcyn, nothing but positive things to say towards and for you. And I love you a ton. Thank you for everything, for being here. You're just a gem.
Well, thank you, Jake. Love you.
All right. Love. What a great way to end the podcast. Love it out. All right. We'll see you guys next time. We love you.
Take care, guys.
Nerding Out on Neurodiversity is brought to you by Dr. Matt Zakreski and the team at the Neurodiversity Collective. To learn more about the Neurodiversity Collective or to be a guest on the podcast, please visit our website at www.theneurodversitycollective.com/podcast. Audio and production by Jake Noonan. Show your support by subscribing, leaving a 5-star review, and telling your friends about us. Our Instagram and social media handles are at #NoonPodcast, NOON podcast. Your support is appreciated and keeps us going. All discussions presented on this podcast are strictly for informational purposes, awareness, and understanding. The advice presented is not and should not be considered to be therapeutic in nature. If you have any mental health questions, please contact your provider. All rights reserved.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.